Hello and welcome. My name is Peter. I'm the solo developer behind Growlery Games. In this video, I want to cover some of the recent exposure that my game Risk and Riches has been picking up in press and streamers lately, as well as some of the mistakes I've made along the way. So let's get to it. So quick recap in case this is your first time joining us on the channel, or you've been watching but it's been a little bit since I ran through this. The pre-production for the game started in January 2024, so that's when everything began. I started posting on my own personal social media about the game and the studio, and have been since. For me, that's primarily Facebook. I started the YouTube series and the website for Growlery Games in April, and the initial trailer and Steam page went up in July with a coinciding press release and a post on r/indie game dev, which one of the smaller forums, but it was a pretty friendly one to try. Got a few engagements there. The press release itself wasn't picked up by anybody, but it was posted on Games Press, which is kind of a depot for bloggers and journalists and stuff to find. So some eyes on it, but not public consumption. The trailer and Steam page were updated in September ahead of the demo release, and the demo release for Steam and itch was in early November. And when the demo went up, that was the first time that the itch page was kind of live. I had been on Steam since July, but my itch account didn't really pop up until that demo came out. So that's where we're at up until early November and the demo release. And so shortly after the demo release, I got a bit of a surprise. There was an email from someone from a online publication called Games Ardor, and they were interested in including Risk and Riches in their Steam games to look out for November 2024 article that they were doing, or page that they were putting together. And unfortunately, it sat in my inbox for a little over a day, because I usually check it at the beginning of every day that I'm working, so at the beginning of my work day, and they had emailed on a Saturday, and I didn't do much that weekend, so I didn't see it till Monday. Anyways, when I read the email, I got back to them with, of course, I'd like to be included, and it's a smaller publication and newer from what I can tell, but they've got a lot of stuff on there. Everything from where to find the save files for your games to walkthroughs and reviews. So it has a lot of content, but I think as a newer website, one of the things they asked is, could I link to the article from my own Growlery Games website, and I think it's to help with SEO because they're a newer website. But anyways, a lot of content on there, and I'm thankful for them for covering Risk and Riches. Their summary of the game was excellent. I'll leave a link to the November Steam article that they did, and the timing was perfect, because that week I had planned on reaching out to YouTubers and streamers, and so this was a perfect opportunity to use the article and kind of upsell it. So when I was reaching out to streamers, I could use it as, hey, I was just covered in Games Ardor, here's what they had to say. And the streamer part, reaching out to streamers, was always part of the marketing plan. It's one of the easiest things that you can control that has a pretty big benefit. You can control it to some degree. You can control doing it and having a good game and sending it out to folks, but whether or not it gets covered and what that coverage is like, at that point it's out of your hands. But I had been collecting email slowly over the course of development, just every once in a while go on YouTube, find a few channels, collect the information. And at the moment I've got a little over 130, which honestly isn't that many. I should have been collecting more, and I'll continue to collect more. for future updates and games. But I sent out about 100 emails to streamers about a week after the demo was released. I waited a week just to let it marinate, make sure there weren't any major issues that popped up with the game, and then I sent out the emails. And I sent it to folks who were likely going to cover an indie roguelike deck builder. I didn't bother, annoying folks. Annoying's a wrong word to use, but I didn't bother sending an email to anybody who clearly this wasn't their style of game that they did on their channel. The subject line was Risk and Riches, recent demo release, playtimes over 3 hours, great palate cleanser. And the thinking behind that was, it was short enough that it would pretty much all display, hopefully, in their browser, and that, right, it's new. The playtimes are longer on the demo release. I do have people who have played for 1, 2, 3 hours, and great palate cleanser because it's a demo, but it's got a few hours of playtime in it. So for streamers that are in between doing a few series of games, it's a nice, easy thing to pop in for a couple of days. That was the hope, anyways. I did use a template, so just to save myself a lot of typing. So I made a template, and it was the beginning. I did personalize, so every single one of these people, before I sent the email, I went on their channel. Which before when I was collecting the emails, I also checked out the channels real quick and took notes. But I checked out the channel before I sent the email to them, just looked, saw if there's anything that kind of stuck out to me that I could use for a couple of sentences at the top to personalize it a bit, make it unique to them, hopefully stand out a little bit. After that, I gave all the quick information that they would need to have an idea of the style of game, how many hours of gameplay, stuff like that. So roguelike deck builder, at least a couple of hours of content, and where they could find it, Steam and itch with the links. And then I did the capsule image for the game, so they could just see that real quick, and then a summary of the game. But I quoted the summary from Games Ardor to highlight and play up that I had just got this coverage in their publication. After that, I again just went quickly over the content of the game, what's in the demo versus what would be in the full game, highlighting again that there's at least a couple hours of content there, and a quick summary about me as the developer and a link to the press kit. And then at the end, I attached a bunch of, well, not a bunch, but several of the better images from the press kit for them to use in creating thumbnails and stuff like that for their videos. Of course, I screwed up the very first email I sent out and forgot to personalize it. It was for one of the larger streamers of my style of game, so like who does a lot of roguelites and roguelikes, Retromation. I wasn't gonna like super personalize it because it's a bigger one, so yeah, I don't know how many emails he gets a day, but at the very least I wanted to change the Dear Content Creator generic opening that I had to Dear Retromation, and I forgot to do it, and I just hit send. That was the only one that I screwed up, but Retromation, if you ever see this, it wasn't personal, and not that you even care, but I wasn't going to send a follow-up email to try and save face. It was what it was, but the rest of them I did remember to, at the very least, put their either username or their actual name if they had it listed somewhere. So I sent out the emails, and the very first response I got was from Max Angor. who does accessibility reviews. And I knew that the channel had an accessibility focus from watching a couple things, but I didn't quite grasp that that was the goal, that the review is about the accessibility of the game and not the game itself. There's a couple other videos, there's a few games that he just plays, and those are the videos that I had watched, so I didn't know, I didn't see these, they're called, he calls them swatches, for the accessibility reviews. And so he did an accessibility review on Risk and Riches. It was great feedback. I'm gonna address as many of the things he brought up as I can, and even if I can't fix it in this game, it's things to be aware of and to design around for future games. So even if it doesn't end up in Risk and Riches, it's gonna make a difference. It's feedback I'm gonna take and utilize. It's probably not what I would have chosen. Well, it's definitely not what I would have chosen for the first, debut of, Risk and Riches out in the wild of YouTube. But I am glad that I got the feedback. I'm glad that I did it earlier because even though the game is a little rough, it's getting there. Some polish updates are coming for the demo soon. It's early enough that I can take the feedback and make the changes ahead of the full release of the game. And some of the things are stuff that I didn't even consider. I know some things with color blindness and stuff like that, but allowing the user to change the cursor back to from the custom cursor to their system cursor because it's easier for them to see, and maybe there's something special about it. That's not even something that crossed my mind. So having those options in Risk and Riches in future games is something that now I'm more aware of. So thank you, Max Angor, for being the first to take a look at Risk and Riches and giving some actionable feedback on how to improve the game for accessibility for a wider audience. But not the best for me as the developer. Not the best light. But it was great, and I'm happy I did it overall. For entertainment channels, which was what I was primarily trying to target in this first wave of emmaiils, I was lucky enough to get picked up by Danegast and Dr. Incompetent. Links for Danegast and Dr. Incompetent's videos are in the description. There's a link to Max Angor's also. Why not? He was the first one to cover the game. I got the first response from Max Angor I think the day or the day after I sent out the emails. Danegast and Dr. Incompetent got back to me a couple of days later, and they covered the game within a week. Just for references for channel sizes, Max Angor has less than 400 subscribers. Danegast has about 1,500, and Dr. Incompetent has 30,000. So respectable, channels, but not millions or hundreds of thousands. But they're both great. And one of the things that fortunately happened was Dr. Incompetent in his response asked, well, hey, where's the big green demo download button on your Steam page? I want to make sure it's easy for my viewers to download the demo if they're interested. And I stupidly assumed, which I should never have done, that the reason I couldn't see the big green download demo button on the Steam page was because I was the administrator and it was already in my catalog. That's not why. If you're making your own game, you should see that, even if you own the game. There's a option that you need to go and toggle it on. It's not the default. So for a week, the week that the demo had been up, the download link was some obscure thing off to the side, and so only the people who knew where to look were finding the demo. Most of us, myself included, just looked for the big green demo download. So anyways, if you're making your own game, what you want to do to get the big green download link, I'm going to read the instructions here, is you want to go to your main apps page. So not the demo page, your main apps page. Go to Edit Store Options, and there's a special options tab. In there is a toggle that's towards the top, and it says Display Demo Download button as more prominent green box above the list of purchase options. You want to make sure that's checked. After getting the email from Dr. Incompetent pointing out, like, hey, where is it? I looked it up, found that, yeah, this is somewhere in the documentation, and I just didn't see it, and was able to find this toggle and get it on. But that was a pretty big mistake for a week, which when the game first went up on Steam as a demo, it got a little bit of a boost in visibility, but people going to the page, a lot of people probably didn't know where to look for this obscure link, and so I missed out on a lot of demo downloads and people playing and hopefully wishlisting and ultimately purchasing the game because I didn't do this toggle. So I'm glad it was pointed out, and it made me look deeper as to why it wasn't there. This is a really stupid mistake, but something I'm never gonna forget. But it was great watching Danny Gass and Dr. Incompetent play the game. They both seem to enjoy it, and you don't have to take my word for it. The links for their videos are in the description, like I said. It was hard to watch the cards though, and so I ended up doing a hotfix. Hard to watch because there was some stickiness to the cards, and I had been kind of ignoring it. Or not ignoring, but kind of put it on the back burner, like, it's not that big of a deal. But after watching people play it live, it's like, this is a horrible representation to have out there for the game. So I did a hotfix and it fixed it. It was a fairly easy fix. It needs some more improvement, but the biggest thing was I have some, it's called, depending on your engine, it's lerping or tweening. It's just an interpolation, but it's the cards slide instead of just popping from position to position. And I had the timings weren't synchronous, and so it was causing issues where if you move the mouse around fast enough, cards weren't back in their original spots before you hovered over them, and so then sometimes they wouldn't pop back out the way they're meant to. I might even just nix it all together, because I also reduced the time for the animation taking place. So at this point it happens super fast and you barely notice it. But I went and I fixed it. When I fixed it, I made the new build. I put it up on itch and up on Steam, and just did a little hotfix thing. Hey, I fixed the stickiness of the cards. Went to download it. I played the demo from Steam. Realized I put the wrong version of the game up. So then for 10 frantic minutes, I went back into my builds, made sure I had the right build, made the tweaks I needed to do, re-uploaded it to Steam and itch, and was panicking the whole time that in that 10 minutes somebody would download the game and get this wrong version. And Fortunately, the traffic I don't think was big enough that anybody did download it in that time frame. But it was again a pretty big mistake, and I know better to not test before putting it up. But I figured, oh, this is a real simple fix, and so I didn't test it until, fortunately, I tested it afterwards. But even if it's a small fix, make sure that you're checking the build before putting it up on Steam and itch. With itch, people get the files directly, so there's no updating. So if someone downloads a bad version, that's what they have, unless they know to go back and get an updated one. On Steam, it will update, or at least tell people that there's an update available, but people have the ability to revert to older builds also, and so it's never totally gone. So definitely something to avoid. Luckily, I don't think anybody got this bad version. Now people know it exists. So, if somebody wants to dig, they can probably resurrect it. But yeah, check your builds before they go up. It was a super, kind of rookie mistake to do. But I thought it would just be a quick fix, and it was not. But that brings me to the last entertainment streamer that covered the game, and that's Cheesecake Cactus. He covered it a little after a week, and just a quick plug for all three of these guys. Danny Gast does mostly roguelite and roguelike games, if you're into that, and I don't think they're all indie, but there is a pretty heavy indie presence on his channel, so pretty entertaining. I watch his stuff, now that I know about him. I encourage you to check him out. Dr. Incompetent, he does a more variety of games, but again, a very heavy kind of indie presence. He does some larger games also, but he has more of a variety channel, and pretty chill atmosphere. So if you're looking to just like veg out, he's an easy one to watch. For Danny Gas, just to go back to him, he has some games up recently that I had never even heard of. So both these channels are great for discovering new things. And Cheesecake Cactus, pretty similar. I think he's also more of a variety person, but he focuses more on indies specifically. So while the Danny Gas and Dr. Incompetent have a lot of indies, but I don't think they're exclusively indie, Cheesecake Cactus I think is a bit more focused on indie. Sorry if that's a mistake, you can correct me. But moving on, they're all great channels. All the links for their videos of Risk and Riches are in the description, and I encourage you to check out their other stuff as well. But with the mistake I made with the quick hot fix of getting the cars to feel better, Cheesecake Cactus covered the game, and again, just for reference of channel size, he's got about 2,300 subscribers, and he seemed to enjoy the game. Link is in the description, don't have to take my word for it, but he did run into a bug that had been undiscovered up until that point, or I actually ran into it the morning of the day that I watched his video. So I found the bug, then watched his video, and saw him also encounter it. And it's not something that anyone's brought up before. It's not something that a lot of players that I know of have run into, but it is a pretty major bug for those who play fast enough to run into it. What it was is the card effects, so the damage, the block, gain gold, whatever the card did, wouldn't trigger if you ended your turn before the associated animation or FX, as in like particle effects and stuff like that, didn't finish. Because in my thinking, if you attacked, right, the actual damage shouldn't be applied until you're at a certain point in your attack animation. The block shouldn't be applied until the block, effect is done. Which, for action games and things like that, that's mostly how they do it. It makes sense. But because of the way that you kind of can players want to quickly play their hand and end their turn to just move on, it creates a little bit of a bottleneck. And the way I fixed it was the easiest way to fix it, but also I think is the most forward-thinking way of fixing it, which I just decoupled that. And so the effect, as in the particle effect animation, whatever it is, happens in parallel with the card doing, damage, block, gaining gold, whatever it is that the card, is meant to do. So that you can do it, the effect immediately happens, you get end turn, maybe, some sparkles or whatever still going on, but then the enemies can do their turn. The reason that Cheesecake Cactus was one of the first people to run into it is because he was whipping around the screen. He plays really fast, which there's nothing wrong with it. I'm sure he's not the only one. So he went to go block, and the shield animation, pop in and fade out, didn't finish before he ended his turn, and he got hit for the damage, which is what happened to me earlier that same day. It's fixed now. It's not live yet. It was a quick fix. It's not live yet. I'm waiting to do it. This video will be up on Thursday, December 5th. So sometime on the weekend following this, or early next week, so before the December 10th, it should be up with a few other polish updates, because I want to make sure that everything is tested and ready to go, so that I don't have the problem that I created when I did the quick fix for the stickiness of the cards. So it was embarrassing and unfortunate that bug got in there, but Cheesecake Cactus handled it with grace. He slowed down his playing so that he wouldn't trigger it, and continued to play the game throughout the rest of his video, which was great. So thank you for doing that. I'm sorry it was there in the first place. I had been priding myself on not having any major bugs in the demo build. I mean, there's some polish to be had for sure here and there, but this is the first big bug that showed up. And so anyways, after seeing some streamers play the game and for the most part have pretty positive experiences, Max Angor maybe being an exception, and also getting further validation from friends and stuff like that who downloaded the demo and played it and enjoyed it, who hadn't previously been part of the play test and things like that. Right? These are new eyes on it. It built up my confidence enough that I did a couple other things to try and boost the game a bit. I posted in the showcase sections of a couple Discord servers I'm in, which was really silly that I was nervous to do it in the first place. Like, of the 1,000 or 2,000 people that are in those servers, like maybe a couple dozen look at it if they're not in there to try and promote their own stuff. It is super low stakes, but for whatever reason, I was more nervous about it than I was sending the emails out to the streamers, who there are high stakes, for them showing off the game. I also submitted my Steam page to get reviewed live on camera and be kind of picked apart. It didn't end up getting chosen, but I felt good about being in a place where I'm ready for that that criticism. I feel comfortable with the game as it is, and after seeing people enjoying it, and people playing the game and enjoying it is what matters. So I'm feeling good about it, and I'm looking forward to hopefully some more coverage in the future. I'm gonna update. I've got a quick update coming for the demo, a little bit of polish, that big bug fix for the effects thing, and then I'm gonna have another update for the demo around the end of the year, probably very first week of January or whatever. I'm gonna introduce the gunslinger to the demo, and at that point I'll take the opportunity to reach back out to a lot of the streamers that I reached out to before, plus the new ones that I've accumulated emails for between now and then, and see if we can get another boost before next fest. But that's what has happened so far. I'm grateful to Max Angor, Dana Gast, Dr. Incompetent, Cheesecake Cactus for covering the game. I'm not gonna shout out every streamer that covers the game going forward. It's not realistic. But I am very thankful for them for being among the first to show off the game, and then again, links for their videos are in the description, and I encourage you to check out some of their other stuff as well. But that's what I got for this one. Thank you for watching. Again, I'm Peter, the solo developer behind Growlery Games. I try and upload 1 or 2 videos a month documenting the development of my studio and the current project I'm working on, which right now is Risk and Riches. You can wishlisted on Steam. And the demo is available as well on Steam and itch.io. And please like and subscribe to join me on this journey, and I'll see you in the next one.